Hello and welcome to episode 158 of Retro Encounter, RPG fans' retro gaming podcast. Mike Solosi is out sick this week, so I am substitute host Robert Fenner. Joining me today are Mike Salbato.
Hello, I'm here once again.
And Scott Clay.
What's up, everybody?
And you've guessed it, we are diving headfirst into Mega Man Legends 2. As it's Mega Man Legends month, inexplicably. So this is the third game in the Mega Man Legends series, following Mega Man Legends 1 in 97-98 and the Misadventures of Tron Bonne side story the following year, 1999. This was released in 2000 throughout most parts of the world. Spring 2000 Japan, autumn in the US, and then late summer 2001 in the UK. Already, from the first 5 minutes of this game, you can see there have been a number of quality of life improvements that Capcom were able to implement with a little bit more with the experience that they had messing with the PlayStation architecture over the years. So before we talk about what this game is, let's talk about our past experience with it. So, Mike, do you want to tell me about your history with Mega Man Legends 2?
Nope. Oh. No, I mean, okay, rather I would want to tell you, but I'm playing through it again, and I only played it once. I played it in 2000, and so much of this I don't remember. Like, I remember, like, a few things. Like, I'm like, I remember that character and this character, but it's been interesting because I don't remember a lot of the locations. So it's actually been pretty fun playing it again.
How about you, Scott?
So, like I said before, this is like one of my favorite games. I really love this game. I said this I think I said this on one of the Mega Man Legends 1 podcasts. I was so interested and so wanted to play this game that I had that week that this came out, Majora's Mask came out also, and I had a street broken copy of Majora's Mask, and I was playing it. And I stopped playing Majora's Mask because I still think he's one of the best Zelda games to play this game once I got the call to get this game. Like, so I stopped playing one of the best games I thought, like, for a Zelda game, and then just played this immediately. That's how much I really wanted to play this game. And I really love this game. I still love this game. And it still needs a sequel.
I think I must have just rented this when it was new, and I played a whole bunch of it, but much like yourself, Mike, I don't really remember much outside of the first Snowy Island and the side trip to the Forbidden Island before the game kicks off in earnest. There were bits and pieces that like slowly came back to me, but with my... it's not the same as me playing through Rockman Dash over a several-year period in Japanese. I really just played this for like one weekend. And I think I wanted to buy it, and I probably ended up buying something that I didn't like as much instead. And then, of course, it became very expensive and rare until it was miraculously released on PSN a couple of years ago. So I'm really thrilled with the opportunity to play this one again in earnest at my own pace. So, Mega Man Legends 2 picks up right where the first game left off, and it's kind of like it kind of feels like Mega Man Legends 1 is like almost a bit of a side story, and then this is the main event. Like right off the bat, the Mega Man and Roll are searching for the Mother Lode, which they kind of hinted that they were out to do before the Flutter crashed at the beginning of Mega Man Legends 1. But we have this quite long intro sequence with Professor Barrel teaming up with his former partner Von Blucher to search for the aforementioned Mother Lode on the Forbidden Island, which was something they did together 30 years prior. And I think this sets the stage and the tone quite nicely. It feels like it's almost got like a completely different mood from the first game. Would you agree?
Yeah, it definitely feels like the first game was just a setup to make this game. Like he had like whatever Inafune was thinking back then, he was like, yeah, this is what I want to make, but I have to tell some kind of beginner story or like setup story to get everyone introduced, and then like push this because this feels like what you should have learned all this stuff in Mega Man Legends 1, you learn in this game, or at least you start to learn all this stuff.
Yeah, like all of the backstory and lore stuff that gets thrown at you in the last 5 minutes of the first game is front and center in this game.
I think that makes it a slightly stronger narrative, because it feels like there's less time wasting. I mean, obviously, it's important to play the first game and to get to know the Bonne family and experience the relationship dynamic between Mega Man Roll and Professor Barrel. I think we said or I think I said in our last episode, the conclusion of Mega Man Legends 1, that everything that relates to the plot is just at the tail end. And you're just kind of running around hunting for treasure. But here, it's personal this time, and Roll is trying to find the big treasure that they were looking for all along, as well as find her parents who've been missing since she was a child. And it's almost got it's still goofy and lighthearted, but it's almost got a little bit more of a somber tone with Professor Barrel is all business with his Von Blucher character.
Oh yeah, he's way more toned down now.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think it's I think he's at that point when he's helping his friend, I think he's scared of the Forbidden Island because of everything that's happened to his family because of it, and it's he just doesn't want to go there anymore. And just because of that, he's just okay, I'll go along with this just because you're my friend, And I feel like that affects his character. It's actually pretty nice to see something like that because you don't really. To be fair, he's an important character in the first one, but you don't see him very often in the first game. You see him maybe 3 or 4 times, and that's about it. That's pretty much all he does. And then he sits in the flutter for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and he's oh, okay, this wacky old man, he's pretty entertaining, but he doesn't do a lot. He's very central to the plot here, and he has more depth to him, already from the beginning.
I didn't get that, or my interpretation wasn't that he was only going with Blucher because they were friends. I agree that he's definitely afraid of the Forbidden Island, but I kind of got the impression that he's looking for this lifelong closure, but is, still trying to conquer his fear to gain that closure. So he's
I can feel that.
a trepidation. And so we see a little bit more about Barrel and Roll's family right in the intro, where a newscaster is there is on board Von Blucher's ship, the Sulphur Bottom, which is quite a name, to cover their expedition to Forbidden Island. And Barrel recognizes her as his daughter, or at least she looks a lot like his daughter. It's not really clear what's going on. She's actually some kind of sky pirate in disguise as a news anchor. Her name is Yuna, and she causes a bit of a ruckus on the Sulphur Bottom.
Yeah. Can we talk about the other newscaster for a second?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was about to say
Who barges in? It's she's not a newscaster. I'm the newscaster. But it's the girl from Catalogs. I'm why are you off of Catalogs? Did she get a big promotion or something?
She's the TV. It even says KTV on it. It's the Catalogs TV station.
I guess they're
roving to other islands.
Are they the only game in town? Maybe.
Maybe.
Possibly. I think there's more than one TV, but. Yeah, I think there's more than one TV station. They say it a few times, actually. If you talk to some of the different people around town.
Oh, okay.
But, I
was happy
TVs
for
on, too. I like the fact that it's a little throwback to another character, because you don't see anyone else from Catalogs Island in this game. They're gone.
I mean, there weren't really many characters who mattered that were native to Catalogs Island anyway, so... But I still kind of missed Catalogs Island all the same. I mean, it wasn't as fleshed out as it could have been, but it felt you felt a real familiarity with that hub that that's not quite replicated in this sequel.
I think, you know what I think, actually, now that I think about it a little bit more, the fact that they have that Catalogs TV thing right there, it makes the game feel like, the world is more connected than, it was than you thought in the first game, where it felt like the island was kind of its own separate thing, and it felt like everything was happening just on this island and nothing else was happening. Because the game setup for the first one says everything's there's just tons of water everywhere. There's almost no land, right? But then all of a sudden you start this game and you realize that everything's a little more connected than you originally thought, I think, which is actually kind of cool.
Yeah, I get that. I can't really figure out what this this fake newscaster's motivation is in this first scene. I know she's just kind of causing a ruckus, but I can't really remember what she does.
That's explained later in the game.
Does she steal something?
No.
No, she's just there.
She's just trying to stop them from going to the Forbidden Island.
I see. Okay.
Her technical motivation is to stop you from going to the Forbidden Island and waking up Sarah. She doesn't want Sarah to wake.
Which is the first big plot point of this game. This is what we do in the intro. Mega Man and Roll, they stop off in the flutter at the Kalinka Island, which is this snowy little outpost to fuel up the flutter and pick up this dropship before they can go to Forbidden Island. And this kind of serves as your intro dungeon and reintroduction to the mechanics. I really like this area. This is what kind of stuck out in my memory over the past 18 years of just Mega Man in this little snowy town with this lovely music.
I usually hate snowy towns in most games, but I love this one. I can't stand the snow in real life. I hate it. It's one of the worst things in the world. But I absolutely love this town. It's got snow. It's quaint. It feels like you're in the middle of just a consistent, not a snowstorm, but nice little flurries, and everything is kind of happy, peaceful music. It's kind of a nice town. The music, and I think the music is actually fantastic too, right there.
There's actually a lot more music.
Oh, there's tons of more music. It's really good. All of it's actually really good. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like there ever is a time where it's just silent. Sometimes that's all you heard in Mega Man Legends.
Yeah, anytime you're outside, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I like, there's a few things in Mega Man Legends 1, musically, that are good. Memorable things, when you're in the support car and stuff, but not a lot. There's way more variety in this one. So that's kind of true of the whole game, but yeah. I like that town a lot too, and I think it was a good call that they started with something like that, because the next one you go to, it's outside, it's green, that one feels a little bit like parts of Catalogs.
Yeah.
So I think it was a good move that the first place you go to here is completely different from what you're used to.
Yeah, it's completely different color palette, sort of different dynamic, and it's quiet, it's peaceful. One of the things I really love about this game that's introduced in this area is the different musical leitmotifs, where the town music, the field music, the inside of house music, they're all variations on the same melody. And you see that repeated throughout the other islands in the game, and I think that's a really nice touch. And I like the inside the house music the best. It sounds like the pop song "Stolen Kisses" by Chris and Cozy. And I really like that song.
No idea who that is.
All right, well, I'm gonna check this
out. Yeah, that's just me being a nerd. But
all right. Well, now we have a subtitle for this post.
Yeah, there you go.
Stolen Kisses.
Yeah, that's a really nice touch. Also, when you're out in the field, it's got dynamic music for when Reaverbots pop out of the snow to attack you.
Right.
Really which back then was not something you actually Dynamic music was something that was not in the many games.
Yeah. Did they do that in Ocarina of Time?
Mm-hmm. Not maybe like that. I'm not sure, actually. I haven't played Ocarina of Time in a very long time. I can't,
sad we don't know this.
I just haven't played it in a long time.
Yeah, me too.
But this one feels like the transition is if it is in Ocarina of Time, and I apologize if it's not. I feel like I should know that.
I think it is in the dungeons, but I'm not sure about Hyrule Field.
But in this one, the transition feels smooth. It feels like it's a natural progression of the music, and then it goes right back to the whatever music's playing at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really, really nice. So you're here to pick up this dropship that Roll's father created it, but Roll's father is nowhere to be found. Instead, we have to rescue this guy named Big Joe from the mines near the town.
Such a Capcom name.
He really is. He's a real Capcom character. This dungeon, it's not that different from the dungeons that you find in the first game. It's really just to allow you to get your bearings. But right out of the gate, you'll notice that I think in this first hour, you'll probably see more varieties of Reaverbot than you see in most of the first game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there's a lot of actual cool varieties of Reaperbots in this game. I think that's one of its actual strong points is they don't really reuse a lot of the enemy type. Well, there's some of the enemy types that reuse, especially the small little the doll-looking ones, like the spinny ones. But a lot of the other ones are like almost every dungeon has its own kind of set of Reaperbots.
But those little spinning dolls, I mean, they were everywhere in the first game. And
they were everywhere. Those like the only ones you fight.
Much lighter touch here. They're kind of, I wouldn't say rare, but they're used a lot more sparingly.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see them again, but not have to see them absolutely everywhere.
Right. That first little dungeon does feel like that one, but I guess you pick up on it a little bit. You really pick up on it in there because the textures in the first game are, they're a little rough. It's an early PS1 game. I get it. But whatever they did in this one, like all of the textures, like facial textures and the dungeon walls, and everything is like much more, I don't know if it's higher resolution. I don't know what they did, but
I think it's better use of shadows and stuff. Like the way they use the shadows in this game, I think it looks, they managed to make those textures look a lot better than they technically should, I guess.
Yeah. Also the little like double door, like mini loading screens in the first one are much, much faster in this one.
And they feel a little more connected too, instead of like, they feel like even though technically, I guess the limitations of the game is this door's here, that door, like that room's here, right? They're not really connected. What you're seeing is a loading screen, right? But it feels like it doesn't feel that way, the way they have it set up this way.
Well, plus you can see a map of the whole dungeon now, which is so helpful.
We had a big old complaint about that in the last episode.
Oh, yeah.
I think actually two things actually super improved. The controls are infinitely better than the first game.
Oh my goodness, 8-directional movement with the stick?
Yeah. And then on top of that, you have the map, which also has like an auto nav part of it. So like the maps increased, the control sticks are great. You can actually use the control sticks now, and it just feels good.
Yeah, you can lock on while moving.
Yeah, there's still an issue, I think, and this is the most annoying issue I have with this game is when you get hit and you're locked onto something, when you stand back up, you are not locked onto the enemy anymore. It will lock on to another enemy if it's next to
whatever's close. Yeah. That's
it's super annoying.
It doesn't misbehave as much as the first game's lock on, though.
It'll misbehave later in the game. I mean, when there's like 8 enemies like just trying to come down on you and you get hit, it goes like, oh come on, I just want to target this one dude that's spitting out all these enemies and you can't target it anymore.
Did you both play this on PS3?
Yes.
Yeah, I did too. I did try playing it on Vita, but I had completely forgotten that this game used the right stick as well, which, aside from Ape Escape, I can't really think of many other PS1 games that use the right stick at all.
I don't know.
So
I had to play on the original disc. I have all the original discs, so I had to play on the PlayStation 3. I don't know if I don't know if the PlayStation Network version is different or not, to be honest.
That's what I'm playing, and it seems faithful and accurate. I haven't encountered any glitches or weirdness. But it has been so long since I played it on disc. But I did try playing it on Vita. It doesn't really work since you're going to want that lock-on button, and you're not going to want it on the touchpad. But you're also going to want to control.
My God, that'd be horrible.
You're going to want to control the camera with the right stick as well as the shoulder buttons in case you want to fire and not lock on. And it's not very easy to do that on a Vita, so I switched back to PS3.
I found, what is even nicer is they even give you 4 control types now. So you can play the game like you played it before. You can, switch to C and D setups, which I think are a little more intuitive for this game than it was. I mean, it's still not perfect. Perfect dual stick controls, but they're still I think the D and the C situations make the game feel way better.
It's infinitely more accessible than that first game, and it feels more pleasurable to play.
The other thing about the presentation that I like, that also you pick up on as soon as you leave that first town, is the ground is not flat everywhere in the world.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I
which is another. I think that's another reason that the lock on, they had to change that now, because in the first one, you didn't have to lock on that much when you're outside anywhere because everything's always on the same plane as you. Now there's rolling hills and stuff, which is good. It makes the environments feel way, way more interesting.
Yeah, now that you mention that, I completely kind of blanked on exactly how flat the plains of Cadillac's Island are.
Yeah.
I think there's like 3 hills in all of Cadillac's Island that are like elevated, like slightly above like main elevation, and then that's it.
And the hills are just there to hold stag beetles.
Yeah, that's it. That's all they have. They have 2 stag beetles in a comic. That's it.
Yes.
But as we go through this dungeon and we rescue Big Joe and get permission to use his dropship, that allows us to pursue what's happening on Forbidden Island and make a little expedition of our own for the Mother Lode. And the Forbidden Island, it's kind of like an Antarctica type continent in a sense. It's this sort of like this. It's at the pole. It's like at the planet's
wasteland.
pole. It's a frozen wasteland. Yeah. It's also got kind of a Bermuda Triangle vibe where navigation systems don't work, and it's difficult to get through on the comm system. At least I think that's true. I think I'm not imagining that. But...
No, roll just talks to you somehow. I think that's the way it's supposed to be set up. But like when you get there, it's like roll's like, hey, what's up? You good? Okay.
It does
Despite
break.
There being like, it breaks up a little bit, I guess,
Yeah.
but. At the same time, it's like she has no problem talking to you. So I mean, and the other, I guess it's kind of annoying. I guess the game has to do it just to make it easier for like the player, right? But you can go back on the dropship and go back up.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
How does that work?
I know. I thought about that. I was like, you go through all this, like, okay, good luck down there. It's like, oh, you can come back whenever you want.
Oh, I hadn't realized that.
Yeah, you can just go right back up. Because I think if the game feels like you like maybe it's like.
It's like a point of no return almost, yeah.
Yeah, there's no point of return in the prologue. So.
Yeah, I think there's a couple things like that so far. Like to skip ahead a little bit, like to the next island where you have to like infiltrate this base. Like it tells you, it's like if you have trouble, like you can go out and like you can step outside and recharge your energy with data and save like between events, which I think is helpful because like some of the events are like. Sometimes they surprise you and like, oh, just kidding, you lost. Like before you even realized it. So I like that you can like save mid-event just to save a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Well, like speaking of that series of events in particular, I felt like I didn't have enough items from the junk shop. So like I got back in the ship and then like the message on the map screen was like, what do you think we're doing? What do you think you're doing? We have a mission to accomplish. And I was like, oh no, is it just not going to let me go back to other islands? And no, it was absolutely fine with me doing that. Just wanted to admonish me while it did so.
Oh, that's funny.
So Forbidden Island is
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, please go ahead.
No, that's what I was going to say. Like you were talking about the Forbidden Island. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's kind of like an overworld dungeon, really. You're running through this snowy wasteland and taking on Reaverbots to get to the center, where this big sort of out-of-place artifact exists. It kind of looks like something that you would find near the end of the first game, this swirling diamond in the sky. And activating that causes a boss battle with like an elephant Reaverbot, which looks really cool.
That's what I was talking about before. Like there's a wolf Reaverbot there and an elephant Reaverbot. It feels like you're in a snowy tundra. Like it doesn't really look like an elephant, right? It's got like kind of does.
You can tell what it's going for with the trunk.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of a cool little aesthetic for a lot of these dungeons. Is you have a lot of these things that's supposed to look like an animal, but it's a robot. Robot animals.
Almost kind of like a Mega Man X vibe there.
Yeah, I can feel that.
Yeah.
So you defeat this Reaverbot, this elephant boss, who. It kind of feels like a standard Mega Man Legends boss. You circle strafe, you jump out of the way of its attacks, you just wear it down little by little. And once you do that, you activate this activate this diamond, and there's this nude girl inside who wakes up straight away, and it's obvious she's like from some sort of precursor race. And her name is Sarah. And from the hillside, you see that Yuna, the fake news reporter, is watching this unfold before she escapes with her partner in crime.
Who's a transformer or something? I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's like a program / Reaverbot /
He looks like something out of like Trails of Cold Steel in his robot state. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you end up taking Sarah and Geets back to Sarah and her retainer Geets. You take them back to the Flutter because where else are they going to go? and this sort of begins the game in proper with Mega Man and Roll finally linking back up with Professor Barrel to locate these keys to unlock the mother lode at the center of Forbidden Island. What do we think of Von Blucher?
Oh, Von Blucher? I mean, he feels like you. Even his little shit. If you go on the ship, it's got the royalty-free music. It's
got the Vivaldi.
Yeah, the Vivaldi going on.
The spring movement? I think it's the spring movement.
Yeah, I think it's spring movement. Yeah. But like, it feels like you're like. Once you hear that music, I think you hear that music in like any kind of like TV show or anything. You think you're in like some like rich, fancy, like, oh my god, this guy's gonna be a total jerk, but he's really not like a jerk. He's just, like, yeah, I got money. I can do whatever I want. Yeah. And I'm going to make you go look for these keys because I'm not going to do it.
I've never gotten to the end of this game, but he strikes me as somebody who's going to be a problem later. I could be completely wrong.
He's just a character.
Oh, there we go.
Just a character. There you go. I mean, it's not like he just gets kind of relegated to sitting in this fancy little thing. Yeah, you're rich. Whatever.
Yeah, it really struck me as the rich benefactor who is polite but is maybe hiding something. But I guess that's not the case in this game.
No, so. You think that you'd be like
he does have that vibe. Yeah,
he has that vibe. Like I said, like he's just I'll do whatever I want. Make you guys go do it. But no, he's just rich friend. He's got that money, but he doesn't want to give you that money. You can go to all these islands, and I have tons of money. I could probably give you all this money to like upgrade your stuff, and so you'd be able to get all this stuff really easy. Now I'm not gonna give it to you.
Well, they said that they do say that he spent all of his money on the Sulphur Bottom.
Yes. No, did they say all of his money?
Yeah. I mean, so he's asset rich, liquid poor, I guess.
Actually, the if I'm not getting too far ahead here, the money thing is a kind of an interesting thing. I forget where exactly it is. It might be in the intro when Roll tells you, it's like, hey, like, we needed money to, like, repair the Flutter or whatever, so I sold all your weapons, sorry.
I sold them, and that actually comes up in the next plot point, too.
That's a really great excuse for setting you back to level 1.
Right. I mean, I like, too, that she specifically sold your weapons, so you at least still have the jump boots. I just thought it was funny. He's like, you did what?
Oh, well, it really fits in with the sort of rough and tumble nature of the Flutter crew and how they're basically just barely holding it together. So I didn't find it too eye-roll worthy, I suppose.
Oh, no, I liked it. Like you said, it makes way more sense than just, I don't have these things anymore.
Yeah. And it kind of, like, as you go through the game, and I don't want to ruin anything for anybody, but as you go through the game, like, you realize Roll actually spends a lot of money on a lot of stuff. And they kind of like, it's like, okay, that makes sense now. You'll see it towards the end.
I almost feel like we should just jump right ahead to the location of the first key to the mother lode, which is Manda Island. And when you get there, Tron Bonne is there in like this crab tank. And we see a little bit of Tron and Teasel in the intro where they're both attending the press conference of Blucher and Barrel with this other nefarious-looking guy named Glide. And
Claymore.
Claymore as well, who's like, he's kind of like, he looks like Gigantor.
Oh, okay, I can see that.
Yeah. And like, I guess they tried to open a shop and it failed because Teasel's an idiot and just bought things that he wanted to keep.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So, it seems like the Bonds tried to turn over a new leaf, but now they're plotting something. And indeed, when Tron drops out of the sky in the middle of this village with her crab tank, you get this quite amusing scene where she's using a voice changer and pretending to be Roll and saying that, like, oh, yeah, he's a loser, you can have him. And she's like, well, I don't want him, but hey, Mega Man, she sold all your weapons, so, like, did she really have to do that? That's your stuff. It's like this sort of, like, weird, please notice me, Mega Man Senpai.
Yes.
By the way, I'm going to turn you against all the other ladies in your life. What did you guys think of this scene?
Actually, I like that scene. I feel like it's Tron. Like you get first of all, Tron is still you understand that Tron's still really like madly in love with Mega Man, even though she has no reason to be. You saved her from a dog.
He kicked that
dog. All of a
dog.
sudden, yeah, he kicked the dog, and that was it. And then all of a sudden, now she's trying to like convince you to join the crew and everything else. And she tries this like multiple times throughout the game, and it's actually pretty funny. She keeps repeatedly like oh, I just want him to join because she wants to be close to you. And then it's like she'll try and roll against you. And there's more interaction with Roll and Tron in this game than the previous game. It feels like they ever meet each other in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, I thought it was really cute, and it worked. It worked because of that line earlier where she sold his weapons. Like I like that they tied that in. He's like, oh wait, that is kind of weird now that I think about it.
Why is everything so expensive?
Yeah,
it can't be worth $1 million Zenny to upgrade this laser beam.
Exactly.
I've always had a soft spot for Tron, and it's scenes like this that sort of continue to endear her to me. And when you beat her crab robot, you get this cutscene that's kind of sad, where like she's very upset, and Mega Man is just like in the background on the comms with Roll talking about how they're going to have pepperoni pizza together.
I did that. Good job. I like that scene. That's the best scene, actually.
Yeah.
Pizza.
and like Mega Man looks back at Tron, and you can tell that he feels kind of bad about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually like the way she explodes out of everything you destroy from her. She just like does a little flip and she's on fire for most of the time.
Yeah, she's like in a jumping jack pose. It's good.
Yeah. Yes.
So from here, Manda Island is liberated from whatever Tron was trying to do, and we start to see what the rest of the world is like outside of catalogs. And here it's kind of like a blend of like, medieval Japanese and maybe, indigenous American peoples. There's like kind of totem poles. It's all a bit of a mishmash. But it's a much less industrious region than we've ever seen before.
Yeah, it's weird because it's not like they've never seen like even technology before. They just don't have it on the island.
Yeah.
It's I mean, when you go to the mayor though, the mayor looks like she's supposed to be like she's wearing like a nightgown, and she's like she's going out to the club. But
she's busty. She is definitely busty.
But it's weird. That's why they always say it's weird to see all this interaction with all these different parts of the world where like some world parts that have technology, but other parts really don't. But they still know everyone else has technology. They just don't want to use it.
Well, they still sell things in the junk shop, so
yeah.
But I mean, they just seem to be getting on in their own
way.
Yeah, and I liked seeing that. Did you guys engage with the mayor and her dojo much?
Oh yes.
Oh boy,
we did the whole 100 question quiz on stream. It was.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Oh boy.
I will freely admit that I used a guide for some of it. Not for everything, but like
the quiz is hard. You have nothing to apologize for that quiz.
It's so wild because it's like.
It's ridiculous.
The two little girls each have their own set of questions. There's
even those questions are ridiculous.
Yeah,
but they go from. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you, but I have to say it. They go from like what color is like what kind of money does America use? Cash or dollars, right? What dollar and then like the seventh question is like the Java bat is the largest the bat in the world. What's its wingspan? It's like what? I don't know what a Java bat is.
Yeah, like there's a lot of historical. There's a lot of historical things that, like, I guess historical buffs would get, but some of them are just so obscure.
There's so many 80s music.
And it's
so many 80s music questions. I love it.
Well, I will never forget that Private Eyes was released in 1981 because that is Hall & Oates' best album.
Hall & Oates, baby.
And then, you answer some questions about Hall & Oates, and then you answer some questions about when Mussolini came to power. So it's really like, what is going on with this quiz? My girlfriend was sitting watching me do this, and she just like kept bursting out laughing at just how ridiculous and unrelated all of the questions were.
Yeah, no, Chad really liked that too. I was like, you know what, you guys can guess because I don't know half these questions either. Like, there's some of them that are just like straight out of right field. It's like you feel like you've just bombarded. But the nice thing is, although even though that's the case, right? There's a lot of hard questions. They're in a rotation of like. So once you've seen like maybe you get like 6 or 7 questions right. If you get it wrong, right, and then you talk to her again, you get the next one wrong, you just go like that. You can start over at like a certain thing and get that 7 questions, right? They're just they repeat that way. So it's kind of easy at that point because you know what's coming next. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, if you don't know the answer, you're just guessing.
I really appreciated just how weird it was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, what is a trumpet? It's like, is it a musical instrument or some other thing?
Yeah.
And I forgot what my favorite one was. I was explaining it to my girlfriend. I'm like, yeah, it's like it asks you which one of these, or there's the one like which of these plays music. And it's like a cassette deck and like an elephant and all these weird things. Like, well, that's really easy. And then the next one's like, how many full albums did the Sex Pistols release? I'm like, okay,
hey, just the one.
Yeah. Just the one.
All right. Was I the only one who didn't know that one?
I knew all the music ones. The music ones I knew all the music ones except the Janis Joplin one. I didn't know. Her album, her second album, third album. I don't know what. Janis
It was her posthumous album. It was Pearl.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But Sex Pistols broke up instantly after releasing their first album.
What's a Benelux country? I'm like,
Benelux country? It's Belgium, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands.
It's the letters in the. I didn't know that. I'm like, what? I'm like, what is this? It was just those questions are great.
It's weird. It's good. I'm a fan. So I played with that gang for a while and got their items. I haven't done the 100 question yet. I think I gave it a crack and was like, I'll come back to this.
You get the Zesta Saber, which is for the blade arm.
Okay.
Or you can buy it for $2 million.
Yeah. Who wants to do that? Nobody wants to give this lady $2 million, Zenny.
Yeah, no one. No. There's a lot of expensive things in this game.
So moving on from her, we go to Manda Ruins, where the first key is held, and this is this sort of like plant-like dungeon. It's almost got a bit of a Great Deku Tree vibe.
Jungle vibe.
Yeah,
that's what I feel like when I walk in there. Like poisonous frogs, fire frogs.
Yeah, frog reaver bots. And already, like I know in our last episode I was saying that I wanted more verbs and variety in the dungeons, and this sort of, it's like wish granted right off the bat. You're engaging with different puzzle rooms and hazards to avoid, and they're all pretty simple, but there's obviously much more variety at play than there was in the different gates in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really, really nice to see.
Each one has its own theme, and their own theme with their own Reaver bots, with their own, unique bosses. It feels like an actual, maybe like almost like a Legend of Zelda dungeon. Like you go in there, this is the Forest Temple, quote unquote, right? This is the Forest Temple to get the Forest Key, right?
Yep.
And
it's
nice.
It's a bit of
over the first one.
Yeah, it's a bit of Zelda, and it's a little bit about what one of Solosi's big sticking points with the first one is like all the places feel the same.
Yeah,
I mean, I know you don't get a weapon from the boss here, but the fact that each dungeon, each island has its own like theme and enemies is like a big improvement.
Can we speak about the weapons real quick?
Absolutely.
This is one of the issues I had with this game. Okay, so because this is exactly where you get the drill arm. Now, I was mistaken about the first game. The first game, you don't have to bring the drill arm really anywhere. This is what I was thinking of, though. This game forces you to bring the drill arm to every single dungeon.
It doesn't force you.
It doesn't force you, but if you don't bring it, you miss out on a lot of items and a lot of money. Because you have even these main dungeons have walls that you can drill through that have stuff behind them. even like this one has technically, I think it's either the compass or even the game has like a map compass system, same thing as Zelda. But like there's if you want to make some of the best weapons in the game, which you probably won't use because you're stuck with the drill arm most of the time. You're always dragging it into these dungeons.
I was happy to run through initially and just play it like a dungeon and then go back later with the drill arm. But still, it is baffling that they didn't, allow you to equip any weapon at any time and instead make you keep going back to roll, because that's so archaic and not fun.
And some of the weapons in this game are really fun. Like the later weapons are really fun, and they're really kind of a little more intuitive than the previous game. And it's a shame that you can't use most of them for most of these dungeons.
Yeah. Should I have the drill arm already?
It's right where the mayor's house is. It's in the pot right there.
I think you have to pick up the gear to use the drill. It's in the flutter area of the sulfur bottom. I had to look at a guide to find it. I found the drill.
Because I got the one by the mayor's house.
Yeah.
The heavy gear I think is in by the.
It's just in a nondescript crate in the dock area.
Yeah, you're right. You're 100%.
Yeah, I got to go get that.
And then
I think I mentioned everywhere. I think I mentioned on that last one, but I think the Machine Buster is one of the first ones you can get in the first game. But for some reason, I just completely forgot to go down that one hallway until the very end. So it was like the last weapon I unlocked in that game.
The nice thing was that they gave you the homing missile very early in this game.
Oh, and it's so handy.
It's probably one of the best weapons in the game.
Yeah, it's
you could use it because you're stuck with a drill arm.
Well, I mean, there's some aerial battles coming up.
That
it's almost indispensable for. But when you get through Manda Ruins and eventually you have to turn the ruins back on, which makes it a little bit more hazardous. Like there's a room, like you have to like go through it, turn it on, then go through it again, and then there's like electrified floors, and the Reaver bots are on high alert. The fire frogs come out, and it's all a bit hazardous and scary.
Right.
And when you get yes,
okay, sorry.
No, please.
I was gonna say like talking about the electrified floors and stuff like that. I think that's the first you run into like status effects in this game.
Yeah, that's new.
Very cool. Like you can get set on fire, you can lose all your energy, or you can get like heavy boot status. I think that's what someone called it in chat when we were doing the heavy boots. It's like we were in iron boots the entire time. Can't jump anywhere.
And there's like almost it's not quite poison, but like some of the Reaver bots, they spray you with this green stuff.
It like loses your energy. You can't actually shoot anything, and then you lose all your weapon energy.
You can, but you have to be at like point blank range. It basically turns it into a melee attack. I ended up like beating a boss with that, with just a sliver of health left. When I I think it was in the like the test, the digger test to upgrade your license. Test, But you get to the end of this dungeon and you fight this big frog, and this feels more like a interesting boss encounter than anything that we saw in the first game, or really anything that we saw so far. I mean, the Tron crab battle is very fun, but you've got a specific set of mechanics to engage with here. Like you're standing on platforms, and this frog is jumping from platform to platform and like shooting its tongue out at you, and it feels very, very unique and cool.
Yeah, it's got bubble attack. Just shoots bubbles at you.
It does.
Bubbles that hurt. They track you like halfway across that map. It's
homing bubbles.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that supposed to be like a reference to Bubble Man? Because no other game has bubbles that hurt that bad.
There were bubble frogs, weren't there? Yeah.
Yeah, or there's Bubble Crab. There's Bubble Crab in X2.
Okay. There's a lot of bubble crabs in Japanese games. It's like Wonder Boy had bubble crabs.
Oh, really?
I don't know where that came from, but I kind of like it.
No, I like that boss battle a lot. Like, there's so many hazards in there and different platforms, and not to keep comparing everything to Zelda, but it definitely does feel like something you would see in Ocarina of Time.
Yeah,
I was going to say it's very Zelda. Like, it even has mid dungeon boss fights. You have to fight Bola twice. It's like
I should have mentioned Bola.
Bola's cool.
Not
I love Bola.
Not in my notes.
Yeah, I don't really want to be here, but all right, I guess we'll fight.
We'll fight. And he has such a cool voice. He sounds like he's just having fun. He's like, you're cool. I gotcha.
Talking about the leitmotifs of the music earlier, he's got like this very sort of jazzy, like saloon or barroom version of the dungeon music that shows that like, hey, I'm a cool guy. We're both cool guys. Let's just get this fight over with.
Yeah.
I wish I had like saloon music that followed me around when I talk to people. I'd feel way cooler.
So
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No. Let's talk about Bola. Unless you wanted to talk about something else.
Bola and Claymore are like they're kind of like you. If you played Misadventures of Tron Bonne, you know who Glide is, right? Mm-hmm. But Bola and Claymore are new, and they're just two really cool characters. I like both of them. I think they're fun, like older characters. They're older than everybody else technically, and they're like they've been looking for the Motherlode for their entire lives, and now they see it like an opportunity to do it. They're like, oh, man, we gotta come out of the game. We gotta come back into the game to just get this one thing, and they want to get their lifelong dream done. And they're like, but we gotta beat this blue dude to get it.
And there's really there's no hard feelings here. They're not evil. They don't have the rage against you that Teasel does. They're another interesting element. They're throwing a monkey wrench into the works.
Yeah.
And he's weird. He's kind of like this. He looks a little bit robotic. He's got sort of bandages over his face, and he's able to teleport and sort of materialize and disappear at will. So you don't really know what's up with him at first, but he makes a real stunning entrance.
For sure. I mean, I think Bola's maybe my favorite character in the whole game. I just like his attitudes to everything. He's like, I'm cool, man. I'm getting old. It feels like they're Murtaugh from the Lethal Weapon.
Okay.
That's the vibe you get from both Claymore and Bola.
Renegade Murtaugh.
Get too old for this. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. One of the times you fight him in that dungeon, he says something about that too. Is like, enjoy your youth while you have it or something. Soon you'll be old and you won't be able to run around so much or something. It's kind of funny.
I think maybe it's the second encounter with him where it's kind of intense because he's sending these traps out at you that he's got control over, that these spinning blades on wheels, and I think it just feels tiring, but I think you only have to get his health down halfway before he's like, oh, whatever, just forget it, I'll see you later.
Yeah, he puts a little bit of a wrench into the whole circle strafe and jump kind of mechanic that you've been doing for the entire first game and this part of this game, and then it's okay, well, I got to pay attention to my left and right, which is because if I don't, I'm just going to run into these traps.
Mm-hmm. And the pattern of the traps moves they are initially stationary and then they sort of can rotate around. It's an interesting little dynamic that he adds. You
still got a circle strafe, but now you got to pay attention to where you're going.
Yeah. I think that's most of the battles so far, at least where I am. It's true. They throw a little wrench in it. You can't even do it with Tron when you're fighting her. Because just the pattern of her bullets, some of them you have to jump to avoid. You can't just run around in circles. Because almost every single thing in the first game, you just circle strafe and you win. So it's good that they make you think on your feet a little more here.
Feels a lot better. Feels a lot more like they were trying to think of ways to shake up the formula. And I think they succeeded so far. But once you beat this big old frog in Manda Ruins, you get the first key. And when you report back to Von Blucher, you're told that the second key is, I believe they say it's at Nino Island, where the Digger base is. And Nino Island's very interesting. It kind of reminds me of one of those micronations like Sealand. It's like a country that exists on this sort of oil rig-like structure. It's just like a one base that in the sea that acts as a bit of a city-state. And you get shot down here because they're expecting pirates, and they're just going to shoot anything that gets into its airspace. So your arc on Nino Island starts with you sort of stranded there, waiting for their mechanics to make good and fix the flutter, while you engage with the head of the Diggers Guild and see what's going on here. I like this area quite a lot. I feel like it's very small, but I feel like it's got a lot of character packed into its area. I don't know what you guys thought.
I mean, it's not as like it's weird in its approach, and it's like okay, there's not much to it. There's one floor, there's a second floor, that's it, right? And it doesn't feel like an island, I guess. But at the same time, you realize that this is because you went to the first island and then you go to the second island. Everything's going to be different. Like they're all going to have their own themes to it, and I kind of like that about it, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I kind of like the idea of it being like right in the smack dab, like it's on a small little pillar, I guess. I guess it got to be a pillar, right? Mm. And it's like city on a pillar in the middle of the ocean. Nothing else, no land, just this.
Kind of reminded me of like the Thames in Xenogears or Fisherman's Horizon in Final Fantasy VIII.
I was going to ask that when I was about to say that same thing. I was about to say very Thames and Xenogears. Mm.
Yeah, I like it though. Like it's even though the game feels really different than the first one, it does. I think in this one you get. I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't know. I like that you go. It feels so different from like the islands, and it's just compact. Everything's metal here. Like you went from this really primitive island to like this metal industrial thing, but then there's like a little bar, and same with the first game and the music store we talked about, and there's a lot of like nice little touches there. Mm-hmm. Like you can go in the bar and like you can look up and there's like a wine and beer menu, and there's like a sparkling wine, and there's little advertisements and posters. Most of which you can interact with.
I'm sorry to go a little tangent right here, but like talking about the bars and stuff like that. If you go to the first bar in the first city, in the snowy area, right? You can watch Mega Man on the TV.
Yeah,
I love that.
That's sort of like that three frame GIF of him like falling over and stuff,
and then Proto Man whistling.
Yeah. But it goes even more into depth about that because if you go back to the Flutter and you read Barrel's notes about how he found Mega Man. Roll names Mega Man when they find him, right? After the video game.
Yeah.
So the video game exists in the Legends world.
Oh, I didn't see that one yet. Okay.
Yeah, so you just go into the Flutter, go to Barrel's room, and read how there's two Mega Man findings, how they found him, and then Roll just names him after her favorite video game character. That's how he has named Mega Man.
But also, it's like described as like they find this infant, and he brings the infant home, and Roll's like, let's name this infant Mega Man.
Yeah, she's got to be like 3 or like 2 at this point. Like she's like, Mega Man.
It makes so much less sense than Rock.
It's just like the couple on catalogs, like, we named our kid Mega Man, and we were
there
like,
you go.
That's a bad idea.
Not anymore, apparently.
Yeah. Oh, I have to go check that then.
Little aside, some friends of mine they've had their baby, but before they had their baby, they had a book of baby names, and one of the names in the book was Master Man.
What?
That's so
Why?
I don't know.
Name in a book.
People. I can tell you, I work with a lot of kids, and I can tell you, I've heard some really weird names. Like people name their kids weird stuff. I mean, that's cool if you want to name your kid, but keep in mind they gotta live with their name for the rest of their lives.
Or at least till they're old enough to change it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I don't know. Whenever I hear something like that, I think like, okay, you know how kids can be. Like, your kid is going to have to go to school with other kids with this name that can really easily be turned into something against
Not even
them.
just that. They just have some, like, they're just, like, straight out of left field. It's like, your name's what? And I'm like, okay. If that's your name, I have, though, I'm like, okay. It's just, you hear so many weird names. People have, like, the strangest ideas. It's like they're trying to name a cat or a dog, but it's a baby.
So, listeners, don't name your baby Mega Man.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's the moral of the story.
Unless you're a huge, huge fan and you want him to be totally embarrassed for his life.
So here on Nino Island, when we speak to the head of the Diggers Guild, the island is quickly attacked by Glide and his bird bots, who are kind of like, they're like this Sentai squadron they're kind of like serve bots, but they're ducks. Or geese, one of the
birds,
two.
Just bird bots.
Are they just birds?
I don't know if they're like geese or bird, but they're just bird bots.
They look like ducks. I don't know.
I would say more ducks.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're too polygon like to figure out what they are.
Little ducks with bazookas. They've kind of got a Sentai vibe. I really wish Mike Solosi was here because there's like a green one and a purple one with an eye patch, and then the red one is their leader, and it's completely his jam.
Even the blue one calls the other Mega Man. Oh yeah, you're the other blue one. I heard about you. You can hear like the back of the thing. It's like, yeah, I'll take you on. Blue guy to blue guy. That's pretty fun.
Yeah. This leads to what I felt was kind of the most annoying mission so far, which is it's a multi-part defense of Nino Island from the encroaching bird bots. So they're trying to land and shoot at the gates with their bazookas to get in. So you have to shoot them down and then shoot down their ships. If they get through, the mayor has some sort of existential crisis, and
he blows the island up. He's
he nukes himself and everybody on it. Yeah, it's like there's children there. What are you doing?
He's not that important.
Yeah. So yeah, you have to do this a few times. Like at first, the individual birdbot ships are dropping them off, and you need to fend them off. Then their mothership comes, you have to fend that off, and then finally you're on the roof, and they're being dropped across these sort of balance beams that make up the main structure, and they're trying to throw bombs, and you can throw them back before you end up in a boss fight against the main birdbot ship. And like they're kind of the general Mega Man Legends aerial battles, where you're trying desperately to lock on and shoot into the sky, and sometimes the homing missile is indispensable, and other times it just won't behave. How did you guys get along with this series of fights?
The aerial battles in this game are just as bad as the first one. It's like, unless the enemy ship is coming directly at you, right? Good luck trying to hit it.
I mean, at least you can
because like your
jump
just
when you couldn't before while you're locked on. Yeah.
True. Yeah. But like at the same time, it's like unless your bullets like always just travel right behind, they just move just fast enough that like you can't hit them. It's like just die already.
I should have probably switched. Yeah, I probably should have switched to the homing missile. I don't know why I didn't. I just left the machine buster because I had already upgraded it a bunch of times. So it took longer than it needed to, but yeah, the homing missile probably would have helped it. I know you're supposed to like throw the bombs back. I only did it a couple times.
Yeah, we really don't have to.
Wasting my time doing this.
I didn't even bother. I just shot all of them. Like bang.
Yeah, it's pretty much just better just to ignore them if you can. But they had a few hits on me, so I had to throw a couple of bombs back. But I didn't make much of a point of doing it. Once you've fended off the bird bots, they head back off to their base on Kalbania Island, where Glide has his sort of pirate stronghold, and Mega Man is told to give chase and see what he can find out. And I think you're trying to get the key back. It wasn't really clear to me why you were going here, or maybe you're just trying to get the. No, they don't steal the key because he blows everything up if they get the key. Yeah. So
you're just trying to because they're afraid that they can't defend another attack. So if they regroup and they attack again, so they want you to go there and just eliminate them, so that we don't have to worry about them anymore.
It's like we'll give you the key if you do these favors for us. That kind of dig.
Yeah. They don't want to risk opening it up and have them come back.
Yeah, or even just having them come back and we're out of like whatever. Money or whatever they have, right? They can't take another attack, so they want you to attack first.
Yeah, they're pretty run down at Nino Island. A lot of these battles revolve around shooting down ships until they can get their broken down cannons together. So following Glide and his crew to Kalbania Island. I'm really just going to touch on the first part of this here because I didn't fully get through this island before I had to stop today. But we see a society that's like even more run down and primitive than what we saw on Manda, which is just like this destroyed village with these two hideous kids.
Yeah,
yeah,
they're funny.
Yeah, they are very strange. Their sister has been kidnapped. They have a lot of pigs. I wanted to cuddle a pig. I accidentally picked one up and threw it, and then I felt really bad.
Oh, no.
If you actually sit there and kick the pig long enough, you will turn dark in this game, too. I'm not
doing that.
No. There's actually a reason to do it in this game.
Reason to kick pigs? It better be a good one.
Yeah, well...
I mean, it doesn't have to be kicking pigs.
This is side quest stuff later. So, if you're dark in this game, you have to pay more money for shops and stuff like that. But I think it's the third village later in the game. Not that much later after this, but you can find a shady person and you can sell him some shady items for money. And you can also buy the taser from him. The only way to get the taser is to buy it from him. And you can only talk to him if you are Dark Mega Man.
If you're a scumbag.
If you're not Dark Mega Man, you cannot talk to him. Right?
I'll live without the taser.
The taser, it doesn't make a great weapon. But if you want all the weapons in the game, you gotta eventually do it.
I'm just imagining like Mega Man with a cattle prod, and that.
Yeah, just. There's another reason to be nice to everybody. If you're nice to everybody and you do a bunch of nice stuff, and speaking of Op 1 Die, after you finish this, if you give them the stuff from the mayor's quizzes, right, the pen,
yes,
you can that actually increases your good status, or you can actually make yourself glow a little bit. And you get discounts.
I was going to ask about that because I was watching your stream last night, and I didn't know if it was just your video. It's like your Mega Man seems way brighter than mine.
Yeah, if you're good,
extra good
you become holy, or glow. You're extra good, right?
Okay.
And you get discounts in the shops and stuff like that, and it's useful for that reason.
That is weird.
There's so many expensive items in this game. Like some of the items cost like 500,000 zenny, like. Some of the upgrades cost millions. I think the shining laser in this game is like 10 million or like 15, 20 million. It's ridiculous. There's a lot of... So you really need to like balance it out. If you want to get all the stuff, you need to be dark. If you don't want to spend a crap ton of money, then you need to be light. So you need to like balance it between it. And there's a bunch of different things you can do, including kicking a pig. Don't kick a pig.
Don't kick a pig.
Be nice, man.
Giving Apo and Da the materials from the quiz unlocks this other like cute little side activity where they start writing you letters and you can pick them up from the post office in the first island.
Yeah, they're cute. They actually get better at it. They like it's because they write like 3-year-olds or whatever, right? With little Z's and stuff. It's funny, and then all of a sudden they're writing you like these ridiculously nice letters like. Your sister's a good teacher.
Yeah.
But the main plot point of this island is to rescue their kidnapped sister Shu from Glide's base, which leads you to this multi-stage infiltration, which, Mike, you mentioned earlier. They're very clear about, like, if you're not having a good time, if you're gonna die, it's okay. Just go back out, talk to Data, refuel, and just come back when you need to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they throw a lot of stuff at you, so it's probably nice to like have an out if you need it.
Well, the first game would have like back-to-back boss battles with no indication that that's what you were getting into. So you could have like a Pyrrhic victory of like defeating a boss with like your canteen is empty and you've got like 1 hit point left, and then here's another thing. So I like that they're much clearer and lenient about it in this game.
Right.
So there's a number of different assaults that you have to take on Glide's base. Like first, you're shooting down his ships and destroying the ships that are in the sort of the air yard. Then you're taking on tanks, and then eventually you're finally making use of your claw arm to pick up some boxes and make like a little makeshift ladder to get into the base proper and rescue Shu.
Shu, which, by the way, why did they even kidnap her?
It doesn't make sense.
You're trying to punish these 2 little boys that can't even read or write? Yeah.
The misadventures of Tron Bonne make it very clear that Glide is an idiot. He's just the bird box. Like Tron and Bonne are, they're smart in the idea that they always lose, right? They're the perennial losers, right? But they're actually kind of intelligent in how they go about things. Glide's an idiot. He just he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna do this now. And the bird bots are really, really dumb. They're just dumb. The serve bots are dumb too, but they're at least, like kind of cute and innocent, right? The bird bots are stupid. They just do random stuff for whatever reason. So they kidnap a girl.
Believe it or not, I didn't actually play Tron Bonne. I think I have it, but so I don't remember much about Glide. It's kind of funny that he looks like just that typical, like, look at me, I'm so cool. But I like the idea that he can have that look, but kind of be an idiot. Yeah.
I love when you get to this base and like Shoe's on the balcony. She's just like, "Excuse me, sir, I've been kidnapped. Can you sort this out, please?" And it's like her character model looks like it's screaming, and it's just this very, very polite and understated voice acting. And I thought that was a really nice touch. It was a really good localization choice. So what did you guys think of the of this segment with Glide's base and rescuing Shoe?
The first one with the flying enemies again, that's annoying. That takes forever. It's just like, because once again, unless
they're flying endless,
at you, unless they're flying directly at you, you're not hitting them with the Buster Gun, and the homing missile misses sometimes unless you've upgraded a bit. And it's like, and after that though, it's not that bad. I mean, after that, it's just kind of, you can just keep going out and in, and then just use the homing missile and just destroy the rest of them. But the first part takes forever, just because.
Yeah, I like the tower one though. That one was pretty cool.
Mm.
I mean, yes, you're basically just looking up the whole time and just firing, but it's kind of fun dodging the bombs.
And once again, if you have the horn missile in that part, it's like you fire one missile and it hits everybody. They all just like fall out, and it's like,
really?
Killed like 6 bird bots with that one.
And then you blow up their tower, and then you get to raid their fridge and steal their fried chicken.
Yes.
So the bird bots are eating fried chicken.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Why are they eating fried chicken?
Because they're
That's really disturbing.
The bird bots are dumb. They're just dumb.
Do they even eat? They're robots.
Yeah, true. I mean, Glide's got to eat, right?
I guess. What a bunch of creeps.
That's weird too. It's like, hey, boss, what are you doing? I'm like, eating chicken. Okay, we're all birds, right?
Well, I guess he made them in his image. I don't know. He's got that ducktail hair. So this was as far as I got today before I had to stop and host this podcast. So does anybody have any final thoughts about this area before we move on to our final thoughts about the first half of this game?
I love the music in the field. In that area. It's actually a really good track, and I actually really love that track. Maybe my favorite track in the game. But it's weird too, because the first outdoor area has a different track than the second outdoor area, but the second outdoor area is the one that has the really good track. You only hear it for a couple minutes or a couple seconds if you're there, but it's cool. I like it.
And then it turns.
I like Oppo and Dot too. I like Oppo and Dot because they're.
You do?
Yeah, they're just two lovable goofballs. They're like, we'll help you. Just chuck you up on a freaking launch you into the air.
I'm sympathetic towards them, but boy, oh boy, those character models are something else.
I'll go with that.
They got missing teeth. They're just two idiot kids. They're funny.
What is going on that island? How did that society just become those two kids and their big sister?
I think their parents died. I think their parents died, and that's it. They after you save them, I think it's just like, no, our parents died, and we just live here. That's all, just us.
We're off the grid.
Yeah, but this there is if you can connect it later in the game, then that's later in the game. Maybe if you connect the 2 dots about that island, you'll figure it out. But that's way at the end.
Okay,
way at the end.
All right, I'll keep an eye out for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's one of the things I like a lot about this game is how much bigger the world is because of the different islands.
Yeah.
That island, I do wish you could explore a little bit more, but again, it's a PS1 game. I'm not going to hold it to MMO standards and size of fields, but it's another thing that would make me want another game like this where you could have these different islands and just expand them a little bit more. Because it's really cool what they're going for. Someone
said on stream it was Breath of the Wild Legends. I'm like, yes, I'd play that in a heartbeat. I'd pay $1,000 for that game if it was a Breath of the Wild Legends.
Well,
if they just took this world and made it into a huge open world thing, I think I'd die.
Well, I mean, I think what's exciting about this game is seeing how all of these different societies live in this post-apocalypse where the world is, it's covered with water, but people are still getting on, and it's largely optimistic, but like all these societies are existing and operating in their own way that's good for them. So, I mean, going on from what you said, Mike, I would have wanted to see a little bit more of what life on this island was like, rather than just 3 characters in a broken house with some pigs, because I think that's what's the strongest in this game is going to these unique towns and just seeing exactly what the world of Mega Man Legends is like.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I always love games that do world building really well.
Yeah.
And this is definitely one of them. And unfortunately, we never get to go back to this world ever. 17 years.
Well, you've really put a pessimistic tone on this, but
yeah,
I guess that's.
I'm sad. I'm sad. Unfortunately, I had to beat the game yesterday because scheduling. But it was like you play it again, you see the end, and it's like 17 years, Capcom. 17 years.
Yeah, I really want a sequel to come out and just to find out that this is actually the same world as Wind Waker, covered in water.
Oh yeah, okay, there you go.
And it's actually like just Hyrule underneath.
Yeah, that could work.
Yeah.
So final thoughts about the first half of Mega Man Legends 2. Mike, what do you think so far?
I'm into it. There's so much more variety in terms of like presentation and gameplay. I'm liking it a lot. It still has all the strong suits of the first one. I have a weakness for like being able to interact with like every little thing you walk past.
Heck yeah.
So I'm glad you can still do that. Just all the little touches in the towns are nice. The load times are way better, like I said, in the dungeons, but also even like saving. Like the first game takes way too long to save.
Agreed.
I actually, when I started playing, I lost like a half hour of playtime because I forgot I didn't save. And in my head,
you don't want to save because it takes forever.
No. Look, I went to data and like hit confirm, but I guess I just waited for the loading screen for him to load my saves and didn't actually hit save.
Okay, there you go. That sucks.
Again, like that's a minor thing, but I've noticed that like that stuff is faster. It's just it's like you said at the very beginning, like quality of life. Like they really improved on like every little aspect in this game.
Oh yeah,
really should.
How about you, Scott? I know that you feel very, very strongly about this game.
Yes, I still love this game. Where you guys are going to go to, and I suggest you buy the Aqua Chip. Buy the Aqua Chip from the shop, because...
I think I already did. Does that unlock the jets underwater?
Yes, because the underwater parts of this game are atrocious. Atrocious. They're like, it's a really cool setting. Like you're right there. It's a really cool setting, really cool take on it. But it feels like you move through molasses. It feels like the game's moving at like 10 FPS, and it's like, oh my god.
You'll see a little bit of this if you let the title screen idle and go, oh boy, that frame rate.
It's just the physics they decided to do. It's not even like the frame rate it dies. It's just the physics feel like the frame rate dies, and it's like, oh my god, just go move, please. And if you don't buy the Aqua Chip, you will just sit there forever and just try to hit forward.
Okay, so I got to get the Aqua Chip, and the drill arm.
Yeah, the drill arm. But outside of like the underwater sections, this game is absolutely fantastic. I still love it. I still love the world setting. I still love the characters. I think they're cool. I think it feels, like I said, it still feels like a Saturday morning cartoon game, and I will always appreciate that about this game. And
it's almost like Mega Man Legends 1 is a Saturday morning cartoon, and then this is like the feature film adaptation.
Okay, yeah, I can see that too.
Okay, I like that.
That's good.
Or if we want to really like date ourselves and go back, the first game is like the weekday Sonic cartoon, and this is the Saturday version.
Saturday one.
Yes.
That's good.
Oh boy, that weekday Sonic. Yeah, got a lot of memories of that.
It's still I don't know. I haven't thought about that in a long time, but it's still weird to me that there were two Sonic series going on at the same time that were totally different.
Both with Urkel.
Yes. I don't really know why they did that, but
he was big back in the 90s.
Yeah, he was. I am very, very much enjoying this so far. I did love playing through the first game again, but this is infinitely more accessible and just like more playable. It's the controls and the lenient saving both go a long way to make this feel much less frustrating. Whereas whenever I died in the first game, I kind of felt like it was a control issue or a camera issue, and that's really, I've had less of that frustration, and subsequently fewer deaths playing through the first half of Mega Man Legends 2. So I think this holds up remarkably well, and I'm very excited to see it through to the end for the first time.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm excited to see how you guys feel at the end. Yeah, you realize there needs to be a third game, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've heard that it's a big old cliffhanger, but
yes.
I'm looking forward to seeing exactly how that pans out.
It's like they just never mind. You'll see there when you get there.
Don't.
It's not even a spoiler. It's just like the game is just like it's like they say like 4 times. Oh yeah, there's gonna be another game, and then it's like there's never any other new game. It's just annoying, very annoying.
Well. We're living in a world that's getting a third Shenmue, so stranger things have happened.
Yeah. That's true.
Somehow I think that's even, Shenmue is even less likely than another Mega Man Legends, but who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Basically, just everyone keep buying Mega Man 11 and tell me you want more Mega Man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's all we can do.
And forget about Red Ash. That's not going to turn out well.
Yeah.
If it turns out at all.
Jeez.
Okay, that is where we will close out this week's episode. Tune in next week, where we will be doing the second half of Mega Man Legends 2, followed by a special Halloween episode on Halloween itself, hosted by Marcus Gaspar, where we will be playing the indie horror game Mermaid Swamp. Following that, in November, our retro crew will be playing Golden Sun. So keep an eye out for those. Those are going to be very fun to listen to. You can email us at retro@rpgfan.com, comment on the boards. We'd really appreciate you leaving us an iTunes review, because that gets our visibility up on the charts. It sounds like a small thing, but you would be surprised the amount of visibility and help that gets us. So if you could take a few minutes out of your day to do that, we would be most grateful. Mike, where can people find you on the web if they want to contact you?
Well, you can technically find me on Twitter at Valkyrie Studio. I will reply to mentions, even though I don't browse Twitter as much as most people. But there you go. And I'm on Discord once in a while.
And Scott, how about you? I know you're terribly social media averse, but you are out there.
You can find me on the Discord, and you can also find me on the Twitch page. And if you want to watch the VODs of me playing Mega Man Legends 1 and 2, on stream with everybody, including that 100-question quiz, which was fun. You can check it out on our Twitch channel. By the time that you listen to this, you could catch all the VODs up there. So you definitely, if you love these games like I do, you can enjoy them again.
Absolutely, check those out, folks. They will be a fun watch. You can find me on Twitter at MissAnthroBob, and that is us this week. We are hoping that Mike Solosi will be over his illness and join us next week. God, I feel a little bit dirty doing his sign-off without him here, but let's keep with tradition, and we'll say good night and good luck.